Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday morning yoga. Hope everyone's alright, hope you're all well. It's quite sunny this morning, surprisingly. Hope it lasts, probably won't. We are working on shoulders and upper back this morning, so we've got quite a lot of shoulder stretching and a little bit of shoulder strengthening work as well. You don't need books or bricks, but there is a stretch that we're going to start with at the beginning. It's called puppy stretch, and if you would like to, you can make it a little bit harder, a little bit more of a deeper stretch with the books if you want to, just by placing them underneath your hands. It's completely optional, and you don't need them. It's still a hard stretch without them anyway, so it's completely optional if you want to get the books, or you can use a cushion as well. You can do the same thing, just placing your hands on a pillow. Just give yourself something to elevate your arms, but if you haven't got anything, then don't worry at all. And if you've got quite tight shoulders anyway, like me, you probably won't need them anyway. So completely optional. Apart from that, you don't need anything, just any blankets, any cushions that you want to use for your Shavasana at the end. That's it. Don't even need a yoga mat. I'll start in about a minute or so. We are going to start in our child's pose, so if you want to get ready in your child's pose, you can do. Child's pose is knees out wide, feet together and chest down to the floor. You don't need your books just yet. I'll give it about 30 seconds before we get going. Hard to tell when everyone's ready, but usually the number stops going up, so if you have just put it on, then we are working shoulders this morning. I think I said this evening. We're working shoulders this morning, so quite a lot of shoulder stretching, quite a lot of upper back, a little bit of twisting for the thoracic spine, and a little bit of strengthening as well. So you can grab 2 books or 2 bricks or 2 rolled up towels if you want to. You don't need them, it just makes one of the stretches a little bit harder. And pillows or cushions for Shavasana or blankets. Tom's downstairs doing yoga. Cool. I think we are all ready. So we'll start in our child's pose. So taking the knees out wide, feet come together, and bring your chest down towards the floor. If you don't need your books yet, so you just pop them to one side. If you find in your child's pose that your chest doesn't quite meet the floor, if your head doesn't quite meet the floor, and if it's quite uncomfortable, then what you can do is cross your arms and just let your head relax onto your forearms instead. Or you can grab your pillow, or you can actually use your books if you've got them, and place them underneath your chest. Just give yourself something to rest on. If you find that this is uncomfortable on your knees, then what you can do is, if you've got a pillow or if you've got any books or if you've got a rolled up towel, place them in between your shins, your calf and your hamstring, the back of the leg, and that just takes a little bit of the stretch off the knee, so it's less intense. If you do find that any variation of child's pose is just tugging on the kneecap, on the knees, and come and lay down on your back instead. We're going to be here for about 3 or 4 minutes, so make sure it is comfortable. If you're in your child's pose again, either have your arms crossed, head relaxing on the forearms, or taking your arms out long and just let your head fall down towards the mat. When you've found a comfortable position, take a full inhale in through the nose. Full exhale out through the mouth. Take in one more just like that. Full inhale in through the nose. Full exhale out through the mouth. Just allowing the shoulders to relax. Just allowing the body to start to settle, to start to become heavy in your child's pose. We'll just use these couple of minutes here at the start of the class just to settle, just to get used to the space that we're in, just to get used to our bodies, how they're feeling this morning. So in your child's pose, just start to give yourself a quick body scan. Just noticing how your body's feeling, noticing where you can maybe already start to feel this stretch. Maybe you can feel some sensations in the shoulder blades, in the hips maybe. See if you can start to relax your forehead. So just start to soften those little muscles in between the eyebrows, softening the jaw. Try not to clench the teeth. Just allowing the arms and the hands to feel really heavy on the mat, on the floor. And our neck and our head is completely relaxed. And from your child's pose, just start to observe your breath here. So without necessarily changing anything just yet, just start to observe the length of the breath here. So just noticing how those inhales feel, how those exhales feel. You might find that just by coming into this position, you've already started to slow your breath down because it's quite a grounding position. So you may naturally start to slow down already. But just observe, just notice the quality of the breath, notice the depth of the breath. Maybe it feels quite speedy, maybe your breath feels quite quick, maybe it already feels quite deep. Just know that there's no right or wrong way of breathing. It changes every day, so just paying attention to it, just noticing the breath. Noticing where you can feel your breath as well, so whether that is in the belly, whether you can feel that rise and fall of the belly, whether it's in the chest and the rib cage. Maybe you can feel it in the throat, maybe you can feel it in the nose, maybe you can feel it in the shoulders, that rise of the shoulders. And then in your own time, we are going to start to deepen and lengthen the breath. So just starting to make those inhales deeper, fuller. And with your exhales, just breathing it all back out, allowing all the breath to follow back out of the body. If you haven't, or if you weren't already, see if you can start to breathe from the belly. So you're really starting to fill up the belly with air. Make that belly as big as you can. And as you exhale, just allow all the breath to come back out of the body. Keeping the eyes soft or the eyes closed. Just staying here with the breath. With every cycle of breath, just seeing if you can start to deepen, start to lengthen that breath a little bit more. With every exhale, just see if you can find a little bit of softness in the body, especially into the shoulders. Really allow the shoulders to roll down back away from the ears. We'll take about 5 more cycles of breath in this position. So just finding a rhythm of breath that works with you, that you can stick with throughout the practice today. It's not a very fast practice. We've got quite a lot of, we've got quite a lot of holds for the shoulders, a lot of shoulder stretches. So we're going to try and come back to this breath throughout the practice today. Try not to speed it up, try not to lose that connection. Taking about 3 more breaths in your own time, making these next 3 the deepest, fullest cycles of breath that you've done. So really focusing on filling the belly, filling the chest with air on those inhales, allowing it all to come back out of the body on those exhales. And then on your next exhale, start to blink your eyes open. We're going to move into our puppy dog stretch from here. So it's very similar to our child's pose. What we are going to do is stack your hips over your knees. So rather, in our child's pose, we have our bum back towards our heels. But in our puppy stretch, we're going to have our bum stacked over the knees. From here, if you want to grab your books or your blocks, just place them at the top of the mat so that your hands can rest on them. If you're not using them, don't worry. But what we're going to do is start to walk forwards. So you're aiming to bring your chest down towards the floor. If you're using your bricks, place your forearms onto the bricks so that your wrists fall off the edge. And then from there, allow your chest and your head to rest down to the floor. You can arch your lower back here. If you feel this is quite easy, maybe your chin comes down to the floor. You will notice, or you should notice, that this stretch is a lot more intense on the shoulders. So you only really need the bricks if you've got quite flexible shoulders anyway. If it is intense, if it's too much, you can make the hands wider or place pillows, cushions underneath your chest just to take a bit of the intensity off this stretch. We're going to be here for about a minute, so it just sounds quite intimidating because it is quite a deep stretch, but just see if you can breathe into it. If you can slow your breath down here, it does make it easier. And you'll start to find that the longer we spend in here, the more your body can kind of settle into this stretch. It can relax into this stretch. If you can't feel anything in this stretch, then what you can think about is trying to externally rotate the top of your arm. So you're trying to roll your arm away from your ears. Coming back to the breath. Really using those long inhales, long exhales to settle the body, to relax the body here. If you have Ujjayi breath, or if you would like to practice Ujjayi breath here, would be a good idea. So it's that constriction of the back of the throat, that audible breath. It feels like you're breathing from a straw. That is what activates that sense of safety, that sense of relaxation, and it does make us feel more comfortable in some of the deeper stretches like this. We'll be here for about another 30 seconds. So just see if you can start to let go, see if you can relax, see if you can soften into this shoulder stretch a little bit more. If there is any tension in the lower back, or if it starts to twinge, you can start to round your lower back a little bit more, try and flatten that lower back out. So really deepening those breaths. We've got about 3 more breaths here and then we'll be done. So coming out of your puppy dog stretch, just start to walk your hands backwards, making your way onto all fours, coming into a tabletop position. Hands are stacked underneath your shoulders and your knees are as wide as your hips. Toes can be tucked or untucked. We're just going to work through some cat-cows here. So with an inhale, drop your belly down, send your chest forward and push your sit bones back. As you exhale, press into the hands, round in through the spine, tuck your sit bones under and just let your head relax. Working through these in your own time with your inhales, dropping the belly down, lifting the chest and the sit bones up. With those exhales, pressing into the hands, rounding between the shoulder blades, letting your head be heavy. Just find a rhythm here that works with your breath, that works with you. You don't have to be in time with me. Just using those inhales to lift and using those exhales to round. If you'd rather just hold the position, if you'd rather hold it in your cat with that rounded spine, or if you'd rather hold it in the cow stretch with that arched back, then you're more than welcome to just hold it there as well. We'll take about 3 more cycles of breath here. So really trying to keep in time with that breath, not losing that connection. And then we will all meet in a neutral spine. So we're going to have a little stretch for the side of the body and the triceps here. So staying on all fours, you're just going to need to move your right hand over to the right a little bit. So just moving that right hand out of the way. From here, lift your left arm out in front so the pinky finger is facing down, and then reach that left hand all the way over to the right. From there, drop your left pinky down onto the floor, so it's coming down onto the mat, and then slide your left hand in front of you and over towards the right, bringing your left ear down onto the floor in between your right arm and your left arm. Just spin around so you can see. So you're reaching that left arm across, and your ear, your left ear is coming down onto the mat in between your right hand and your left arm. You should feel this stretch down the left side of the body. To intensify this stretch, then you can come onto the right fingertips and twist your chest up to the sky a little bit more. So in this stretch, you really want to think about pulling your left hip away from your left fingertips. So you're really creating this long line all the way down that left side of the body. the more you think about that left arm reaching forwards and that left hip pulling backwards, that is going to get that stretch all the way down the back, lower back, into your lats, into your traps, into your delts, all the way down that left arm, maybe into the forearm, into the wrists as well. So again, if you do want to intensify that stretch, you can come onto those fingertips of that right hand and just twist your chest up a little bit more to the sky. We'll take 3 breaths here, so 3 deep breaths. Again, this is another quite deep stretch, so focusing on slowing the breath down. With those exhales, can you soften, can you relax into this anymore? Staying exactly as you are, we're just going to make this into more of a tricep stretch. So bend your left elbow and place your left hand, the left palm of your hand, as close towards the top of your back as you can. From there, start to push your hips back a little bit more, and this is going to bring that stretch down the back of the left arm. If you can't feel anything here, use your right hand and press the left hand into the top of the back, just to give yourself a little bit more pressure there. So your arm on the back looks a bit like this, if you can reach. If you do need to make it harder, again, you can keep those fingertips of the right hand pressing down and just twisting your chest up to the sky. We'll take 3 more cycles of breath here, so really deep breaths, full inhales and full exhales. With every exhale, seeing if you can settle, seeing if you can find a little bit more of a deeper stretch with those exhales. And relax, make your way back into your tabletop position. So hands are stacked underneath the shoulders. We've got the same thing on the other side here. So just walk your left arm out to the left, finding a little bit of space. Reach your right arm out in front, so the pinky finger of that right hand is pointing down. From there, start to reach your right hand over to the left, and then drop your right fingertips. So the knife side, the pinky side of the right hand is coming down to the floor. Slide your right arm in front, drop your right ear down in between your left hand and your right arm. So you're coming into that stretch for the right side of the body. So from here, your options are to come onto the left fingertips and just start to twist your chest up to the sky a little bit more. Make sure that you have got that force of that left hip trying to pull backwards, and your right hip is pulling backwards and your right hand is pulling forwards. That is going to really start to lengthen all the way down that right side of the body, right lower back, into the lats, traps, delts, maybe into the wrist and the forearm. If your head doesn't meet the floor, don't worry, you can stay with the ear hovering off the floor, or you can place a pillow or a book or block underneath your left ear. So find your breath here, find those deep breaths, those deep inhales, deep exhales. We've got 2 more rounds of breath here. Seeing if you can sink into this stretch a little bit more, and just notice where you can feel it the most. Depending on where you're tighter, whether you've been doing any exercise, you will feel this differently in your body. So staying exactly as you are. The only change we're going to make is that we're going to bend that right elbow and bring the right palm of the hand, if you can reach, to meet the top of that back. From there, you can either stay here, you can keep twisting your chest up to the sky to make it a little bit more intense, or you can place your left hand onto your right arm and press that hand into your back just a little bit more, just to give yourself some pressure to feel that stretch a little bit deeper. Again, to make this harder as well, what you can do is start to pull your hips backwards. So you're getting that stretch. You should be getting the stretch down the front of that down the back of that right arm. I'll take 3 more cycles of breath here. Using those exhales to relax into this stretch, finding a bit more depth if you can, finding a deeper stretch. And then slowly release that right arm, make your way back into your tabletop position. Just give the arms a little bit of a shake if you need to here. Tuck in the toes under, send your hips all the way up and back into your first downward facing dog. Just pedaling out the legs a little bit, bending the knee, relax your head, give the head a nod, Give the head a shake. Taking any movements that you want to take in this first downward dog. And then when you are ready, starting to find stillness. So the feet are hip width, the hands are shoulder width. And we're trying to send the heels down to the floor. But the main thing to think about in this downward dog today is that the shoulders are away from the ears. So if you feel like you're stacked, if you're carrying quite a lot of weight in your hands and your shoulders are coming up to your ears, see if you can bend your knees and then send your bum backwards, chest back towards the thighs, and then roll your shoulders away from the ears. Start to walk your hands back towards your feet at the back of the mat. Really bend your knees here. Just hang out with this ragdoll stretch. So you can either just stay completely still here, just allowing the weight of the head to pull you down towards the floor, or you can start to rock gently from side to side, just getting into that lower back a little bit more. Or if you'd like to, you can take hold of opposite elbow, crossing the arms, and again start to rock from side to side, or just find stillness here. This is just going to start to wake up the hamstrings. If there is any tugging in the lower back, then bend your knees a little bit more so the chest is in connection with the thighs. If it feels okay, then you can start to straighten out the legs a little bit more here. We've got a couple of hamstring stretches this morning too, so we're just starting to wake them up. Slowly release the arms, bring the hands back down towards the floor. Bend your knees a lot so the hands can come flat onto the mat, and then just start to walk forwards into your plank position. We've got a tiny bit of core work, only a little bit. So finding your top plank. From here, keeping the hips square, you can keep your knees on or off the mat. We're going to drop down onto our forearms, so you're coming into your forearm plank. Rather than interlacing your fingers, make sure that the palms are facing down towards the floor. Squeeze your bum, tuck the sit bones under, press the weight back through the heels, and just take your gaze to the front of the mat. Really activate the quads, so squeeze the legs and the bum as hard as you can. Breathe. We're here for another 5, 3, 2, and 1. Drop your knees down, untuck your toes. Drop your hips down to the floor. Keep lifting up the chest, finding your Sphinx position. Shoulders are down and back. Lengthening the front body here. We're going to come back into a plank position, so tucking the toes under. Lift your kneecaps off the floor, squeeze your bum. Press the forearms into the mat, lifting yourself up into your forearm plank. Holding it here for 10 seconds. So really squeeze your bum, squeeze your quads. Gaze is at the front of the mat, in between your hands. Breathe. Try not to hold your breath. Try not to grit your teeth. If you're shaking, it's good. We're here for another 5, 3, 2, and 1. Drop the knees down, untuck the toes, hips lower down. Inhale, lift up the chest. Relax your shoulders down and back. Really press your forearms into the floor. Imagine you're trying to pull the mat in towards your chest. Take 1 full inhale here. As you exhale, toes tuck under, lift up the kneecaps, lift up the thighs, squeeze your butt, hips lift, plank position last time, holding it for 10 seconds. Pressing back through the heels. At any point, just drop down onto your knees. Keep breathing. Try not to let the head collapse. Keep looking forwards. Really strong glutes, strong thighs, forearms press down. Try and round between the shoulder blades. We're here for another 5, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees down, untuck the toes. Inhale, lift up your chest. Last Sphinx position. As you exhale, bring your chest down towards the floor. Place your hands underneath your shoulder blades. Tuck your toes under. Press up into your downward facing dog, either coming through plank or coming through a tabletop position. Sending the hips all the way up and back, downward facing dog. We're not going to stay here. We're going to start to move in between our plank and our downward dog. With an inhale, shuffle all of your weight forwards, shoulders stack over wrists, finding a plank position. As you exhale, send your hips all the way up and back. Ears move between the arms, downward dog. Inhale, plank position. Exhale, downward dog. Send your chest back towards the thighs. We've got 2 more. Inhale, plank position, just waking up the upper body, waking up the shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. So you can get your chest a little bit closer to the thighs this time. Last round. Inhale, plank position. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, plank position. Drop your knees down. Hips and chest lowered to the floor at the same time. Untuck the toes. Inhale, lift up the chest, either in your Sphinx position or upward dog. Exhale, chest comes down towards the floor, tucking your toes under, lifting up into your downward dog, either through plank or through your tabletop position. Exhaling into downward facing dog. So start to find some stillness here. Hands are spread wide, hands are as wide as the shoulders. With an inhale, come all the way up onto your tiptoes, as high as you can. Exhale, try and send the heels back down towards the floor. We've got 2 more like this. Inhale, come up onto the tiptoes. Come up a little bit higher. Exhale, send those heels back down. Last time, inhale, come up onto the tiptoes. Exhale, heels down towards the floor. This time as you inhale, lift up your right leg, 3-legged dog. Keep that right foot flexed and keep the hips square. So try not to open up that right hip. Keep both hips pointing down towards the floor. As you inhale, come onto the left tiptoes. We're just starting to wake up that left calf. Exhale, send that left heel down to the floor. Inhale, left tiptoes, come up as high as you can. Exhale, heel to the floor. 2 more. Inhale, coming onto the tiptoes. We're nearly done. Exhale, heel to the floor. Last time, inhale, come onto the tiptoes and hold it here. As you exhale, bend your right knee. Sweep your right knee all the way through to the front of the mat to replace that right hand with the right foot. Use your right hand to pull that right foot through if you need to. Left knee drops down to the floor. If you need to grab any pillows to place underneath that left knee, then just grab them now. With an inhale, hands come up overhead, finding your lunge position. It's up to you whether you keep that left toe tucked or untuck the left toe. With an inhale, reach your hands up a little bit higher. Bringing your palms together, this is option 1. So you're in this namaste position. Start to bend your bend your elbows. So imagine that you're bringing your thumb to meet the top of your back. So we're just getting that stretch into the triceps. If this is a bit intense, or if you start to go a bit dizzy, then what you can do is keep the arms up in a V position, or just keep the hands on the hips. So if you are taking a tricep stretch, really press your palms together. We're not going to be here for too long. And try and send your arms back behind your ears. This is really going to get into the back of the arms here. So let's get a little bit of a hip flexor stretch involved as well. Squeezing your glutes, tucking your sit bones under. Start to bend into that right knee. We'll take another 2 breaths here. So really deepen those exhales, deepen those inhales. On your next exhale, send your hips back, release your hands, bring your arms back behind you, straighten that right leg, finding your half split hamstring stretch. Inhale, bend your right knee, bring your arms up overhead, palms come together, thumbs come back to the top of the back. Exhale, half split, straighten the right leg, taking the hands back behind, keep lifting up the chest. Inhale, bend your right knee, arms come up, palms together, thumbs to the back. Exhale, find that hamstring stretch, arms come back behind. We've got 2 more rounds. Inhale, lunge position, arms come up, palms together, thumbs to back. Exhale, hamstring stretch, sending those hips up and back. Last time, inhale to bend the right knee, arms come up, palms together, thumb to back. This time as you exhale, place both hands to frame that right foot, tuck your left toes under, lift the left knee, and step your right foot to meet your left in your plank position. So there's the option to move straight into your down dog, straight into your child's pose, or vinyasa, hips and chest lower down to the floor at the same time. Untuck the toes, inhale, lift up the chest, shoulders down. Exhale, chest comes down to the floor, tucking those toes under, lifting up into your down dog or your child's pose, either through plank or through your tabletop position, taking 5 breaths, either in your down dog or in your child's pose. So using this time to slow the breath back down again. Noticing that whether your heart rate is starting to get up a little bit, whether you're feeling a little bit warmer. And see if you can cultivate those deep inhales, those deep exhales. And we'll take another full cycle of breath, just one more breath wherever you are. If you were in your child's pose, Making your way backwards into your downward facing dog. From your downward dog, take an inhale, come up onto the tiptoes. Exhale, heels come down to the floor. One more time. Inhale, coming up onto the tiptoes. Exhale, heels come down to the floor. As you inhale, lift up the left leg, keep the left foot flexed. Hips are square. So try not to open up that left hip. Keep both hips parallel to the floor. Shoulders are square. As you inhale, come up onto the right tiptoes, feeling into that right calf. Exhale, right heel down. Inhale, lifting up the right heel, come onto the tiptoes, higher if you can. Exhale, heel to floor. Last one, inhale, coming up onto the tiptoes. Keep that left leg lifted. Exhale, heel to floor. Inhale, coming up onto the tiptoes of that right foot. As you exhale, bend your left knee, sweep the left knee into the chest, and then replace the left hand with that left foot. Using your left hand to shuffle that left foot forward as much as you need. Drop the right knee down. Grab any blankets or pillows that you want to put underneath that right knee. With an inhale, coming all the way up into your lunge position. So from here, you can either keep your right toes tucked or flatten the back of that right foot down. Hands can either stay up in a V position. You can place the hands on the hips, or if you're going to bring the tricep stretch into it, bring the palms together in your Anjali Mudra, Namaste position. And then from there, start to bend your elbows, bringing your thumbs to the top of your back. So if you are in this tricep position, really try and send your arms back past your ears, so you're really getting into the back of the arms. We'll start to get a bit of a psoas hip flexor stretch involved as well. So squeeze your bum, tuck in the sit bones under, and start to bend a little bit deeper into that left leg. You should feel a stretch in the front of that right leg here. We'll take about 2 more breaths, so we're not here for long. Really slowing the breath down. Deep breath. Try not to speed it up. Try not to hold breath. On your next exhale, send your hips back. Bring your arms back behind. Straighten out that left leg. Point the toes up to the sky. Find that hamstring stretch. Inhale, bending the left knee. Arms come up overhead. Palms together. Thumbs back to your spine. Exhale, hamstring stretch. Arms come back, left leg straightens. Inhale, lunge, arms up, palms together, thumbs to your back. Exhale, hamstring stretch, hands come back. Find your breath, inhale, lunge, arms up, palms together, thumbs to your back. Last round, exhale, hamstring stretch. Really find your breath here. Inhale, coming up into your lunge position. Palms together, thumb to your back. As you exhale this time, both hands come down to frame that left foot. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee. Step your left foot back to meet the right in your plank position. Option, vinyasa, or coming straight into your downward dog or your child's position, whichever variation you are going with. Stay connected with the breath. Keep those shoulders relaxed. We will take 5 breaths, either in our downward dog or our child's position. Using this time to find that breath. Grab a drink if you need, to take in a little bit of a rest here. If you are in your downward dog, see if you can relax your neck, relax your head. Maybe give the head a little nod or a little shake. We will take 1 more cycle of breath here. If you are in your child's position, making your way back into your downward dog. Looking in between your hands, bend your knees. Tiptoe, walk or hop or step, both feet in between the hands at the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips on the floor, on the shins or on the thighs. Really lengthen that back. As you exhale, forward fold, getting a little bit deeper into those hamstrings. Inhale, hands come up overhead, finding an upright position. Keep your hands above your head. We're just going to take a couple of stretches for the side body here. So your left hand is going to catch hold of your right wrist, if you can see me. Inhale, reach your right arm up. And as you exhale, we're going to reach that right hand all the way over to the left, so you get in that stretch down the right side of the body. Keep pressing both feet into the floor. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. squeezing your butt. So keep those glutes engaged, and just check that you haven't started to arch that lower spine. Check that your core midline is turned on, belly button pulls back towards the spine. Take one more inhale, bring the hands up overhead. As you exhale, right hand catches hold of left wrist, and then we reach that left hand all the way over to the right, so we're getting that stretch down the left side body this time. Checking in with that core, start to draw the belly button back towards the spine, making sure that you haven't started to arch that lower back, tuck the sit bones under, squeeze in your butt, squeeze the belly button back towards the spine. Breathe. On your next inhale, hands come up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Bring the fingertips down towards the feet. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips, shins or thighs. This time as you exhale, place both hands flat onto the floor and take a long lunge back with the right knee. Keep that right leg lifted. With an inhale, press your left foot into the floor, bring the hands up overhead. Exhale, drop your right heel down, opening up into your warrior two. So your right heel is at a 45-degree angle and your left heel is in line with your right toes. The arms are straight out to a T, shoulder blades down and back, strong arms here. And just take your gaze over that left hand. I'll spin around. So in your warrior position, make sure that your hips are facing forwards. So it's quite easy to twist your hips around to kind of frame that left leg. But imagine you're trying to pull your hips away from that left knee, so your chest is facing forwards. With an inhale, reach your left hand forward, and as you exhale, bring the left arm up and over, right hand comes down that right leg. Inhale, coming back to your warrior two. Exhale, left forearm comes to thigh. Exhale, right arm comes up and over. We're just going to keep working through those two positions. With your inhale, coming into your warrior two. Exhale, reverse the warrior. Right hand comes to the right leg. Left arm comes up and over. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, left arm, left leg, right arm comes up and over. One more round. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, reverse. Right hand, right thigh, left arm up and over. Finding the breath. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, left forearm, left thigh, right arm comes up and over, and really twist that right shoulder backwards. So you're trying to open up your chest towards the sky, getting that really good stretch all down the right side of the body, shoulder, right shoulder away from the right ear. On your next inhale, come back up to your warrior two. Straighten out that left leg, maybe making your stance a little bit narrower here. Keeping that left heel in line with your right toes. Take an inhale, reach the left hand forward, tilt from that left hip. As you exhale, left forearm to either your left thigh or your left shin, reaching the right arm up, finding your triangle, Utthita Trikonasana. Tucking your sit bones under, really activate that core. So in this stretch, you want to feel some kind of sensation at all down that right side of the body, into the hamstrings and the adductors maybe, depending on where you're tighter or how your body is feeling, you'll feel it differently to everyone. Just make sure your shoulders are relaxed. If your head is feeling any tension, just look down to that left foot. Keep squeezing those quads. Legs are active. Try not to grip the floor with the toes on that left foot. Try and spread all the toes out wide. On your next exhale, down to your left foot. Inhale, coming all the way back up into your straight leg, straight arm warrior two. Place your hands onto your hips. We're just going to pivot around so that the left foot is in front and the right foot is behind. Both legs are straight, and you've got about a hip width gap between both feet, so they haven't started to cross behind each other. Option one, you can keep the hands on the hips. Option two, just place the hands in the very base of the lower spine. Option three, grab hold of opposite elbow behind your back. Option four, interlace the fingers, squeeze the shoulder blades together and try and move your arms away from your spine. Whichever variation you're going with, take an inhale to lift up the chest, straighten the spine. As you exhale, start to fold forwards over that left leg, folding from the hips, so push your bum backwards, driving your chest towards that left thigh. So you should feel this stretch in that left hamstring. We're going to be here for about 5 breaths. So keep those quads active. Really draw those kneecaps up. Make sure your lower back hasn't started to round, so we're not collapsing into this left leg. We're lifting up through the lower back, leading with the chest. Shoulders are relaxed. So this isn't really a stretch of the shoulders. If we've got the interlace, it's going to stretch the chest a little bit more. And with the legs, we are working those hamstrings. And with those exhales, see if you can soften it, see if you can relax into it a little bit more. Finding that deep breath. Finding that Ujjayi breath if you have that in your practice, that constriction in the back of the throat. On your next inhale, come up halfway. So we're still in this parallel position. Our chest is still leaning over that left leg. Bend your left knee, keep the arms exactly as they are. We're going to take off into our warrior 3. Lift up that right leg, flex your right foot, finding your balance here. If it's a bit intense with the hands in the interlace, you can always place the hands onto the hips instead, or anywhere that helps you find balance. Out in front, behind, out to a T, prayer position, anything that feels good for your body. If you fall, don't worry, just get back up again. Activate your legs. So your right foot is flexed and your hips are parallel to the floor. There is the option to stay here, or on your next exhale, bring your fingertips down to the floor, standing splits. See if you can lift up that right leg and point your right toes. Driving your chest as close towards that left thigh as you can. Keep breathing. Full inhales, full exhales. On your next inhale, come up halfway, come onto the fingertips. Placing the hands onto your hips. I know that left leg hurts, try and ignore it. Keeping your right leg as straight as you can, micro bend your left knee. Sweep the right knee all the way up to the chest, bending that right leg without using the hands. See how close towards your chest you can get that right leg. So we're squeezing that right hip flexor. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, step the right leg back into your lunge. Both hands come down to the floor. Step back into your plank position. Option 2, work through vinyasa or come straight back into your downward dog or your child's pose for 5 breaths. Whichever variation you're going with, sticking with the breath. Try not to speed it up. Try not to hold the breath. Finding your downward dog or your child's position for 5 breaths. So really slow the breath down. Your heart rate might have lifted. You might be feeling a little bit more fatigued in the legs and the arms. Try and ignore it and try and breathe through it. Grab a drink whenever you need. We've just got one more on the other side. We're nearly done. If you're in your child's pose, make your way back into your downward facing dog. Looking in between your hands, bending the knees. Tiptoe step or hop the feet in between the hands at the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, both hands come down onto the floor. Take a long lunge back with the left leg. Pressing into the right foot, take an inhale, bring the hands all the way up overhead. As you exhale, left heel drops down, opening up the arms into your warrior 2, bending your right knee. So checking that your hips and your chest are facing the front of the room. Arms are active, shoulders are down. Straighten out those arms as much as you can. Keeping the right knee bent, take an inhale, reach your right hand forward, tilt from that right hip. As you exhale, reverse your warrior, left arm to left thigh, right arm comes all the way up overhead, stretching down that right side of the body. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, right forearm, right thigh. Left arm comes all the way up and over. Left side body stretch. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, reverse, right arm up, left arm down that left leg. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, right forearm, right thigh. Left arm comes up and over. Last round, really find your breath. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, reverse the warrior, left arm, left thigh, right arm up and over. Last one, inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, right forearm, right thigh, left arm comes up and over, and we'll hold it here. So twisting that left shoulder backwards, trying to open up your chest towards the sky. Draw your left shoulder down away from that ear. So try not to let that left shoulder scrunch up to that left ear. On your next exhale, look down to your right foot. Inhale, come up to your warrior two. Straighten out that right leg. Just make your stance a little bit narrower. So finding our Utthita Trikonasana with an inhale, tilt from that right hip, reach your right hand forward. As you exhale, right hand, right thigh, right hand, right shin, left arm comes up and overhead. Squeeze your thighs. Tuck your sit bones under. If your head feels a little bit tight, a little bit uncomfortable, then you can look down to that right foot. So in your Utthita Trikonasana, making sure that your glutes are engaged, your butt is strong. Tuck your sit bones under and try not to collapse into that right side of the body. So it's quite tempting in this pose to just kind of lean into that right leg, but imagine you're trying to twist your chest up towards the sky, so you're really lengthening that right side of the body. Taking one more full round of breath here, so full inhale in. As you exhale, looking down to your right foot, inhale, coming up into your straight leg warrior two. Hands come onto the hips and just pivot around so that your right foot is in front, left foot is behind. Hands on the hips is option one. Option two is to place the hands on the very base of the lower spine. So just swap hands, swap the one that was on top. Option three is to interlace the hands, is to grab hold of each elbow, so crossing the arms. Again, try and cross the other direction if you can. Final option is to take the interlace with the hands, squeezing the shoulder blades together, reaching the arms away from your back. Again, try and go for the one that feels awkward. So whichever variation you are in, take an inhale, lift up the chest. As you exhale, pushing your hips backwards, folding forwards over that right leg, squeezing at your right thigh. Try not to collapse or round into that back. Really keep lifting up the chest. Draw your right hip backwards, so you're feeling that stretch in your right hamstring. Using that breath to find a little bit more comfort, a little bit more of a deeper stretch for that right leg. Keeping those shoulders heavy. Try not to keep any tension in the neck, so you can give the head a little nod, a little shake. We'll take another 2 breaths here. On your next inhale, come up halfway. You know what's coming now, so try and stick with me. Bend your right knee. We're going to take off into our warrior 3, lifting up that left leg. Try and keep the arms as they are. Left foot flexes. Both legs are active here. If it is too much or you're struggling to balance with the hands and the interlace, you could just move around, either bring the hands to the hips, take the arms out to the side, out in front, at the chest, just anywhere that helps you balance here. Option to stay here, or as you exhale, fingertips come down to the floor, finding your standing split, point that left toe. So we're just intensifying that stretch in that right hamstring. Falling is good. I know that right leg hurts. Try and ignore it. We're not here for long. Wherever you are, we are all going to meet in our warrior 3, coming up halfway. Find that balance. Bend your right knee. Keep the left leg as straight as you can. Sweep the left knee, left leg up. Bend the left knee. Lifting that left leg up as high as you can without using the hands. I know this hurts. Squeeze that left hip flexor, so you're using that left hip flexor strength to lift up that left leg. Breathe. Inhale, and as you exhale, step that left leg back, finding your lunge position. Both hands come down to the floor. Step back into your plank position. Last time, 2 vinyasa, or come straight back into your downward dog or your child's pose. Completely up to you. Finding your breath, moving with the breath. And we will all meet in our child's pose or our downward facing dog for 5 breaths. So that's the hardest bit done. We're cooling down now, we're nearly done. So use this time to start to slow down, start to slow the breath, grab a drink if you need. And just give yourself a quick body scan. So just observing how the body feels now, noticing whether the body feels any different to the beginning of the class. Notice the legs Do the legs feel a little bit warmer? Do the hamstrings feel a little bit more lengthened, stretched? Do the shoulders feel a bit more open, or do they feel a bit more fatigued? Wherever you are, if you're in your downward dog, drop your knees down. We're going to meet in our tabletop position. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees as wide as the hips. We're just going to finish with a little bit of shoulder strengthening. I know I've done quite a lot already, but this is just going to give us the ache tomorrow. So you've got a couple of options here. Option one, well, we're all going to come down onto our forearms, interlace the fingers, and bring the hands down to the floor. So it's kind of a press up, it's kind of like a pike press up. Option one is to stay with the knees down. We're going to bring all of the weight into the arms. Try and get your chin or your nose to tap the floor, and then push it back into your tabletop position. If this feels easy on the knees, then you can make it harder by coming into your downward facing dog. And it's the same principle. So we bring all of the weight into the arms, stay on your tiptoes, try and get your chin or your nose to tap the floor, and then send it back into your downward dog. We're going to do 5 in our own time. We're going to do 5 together. So pick whichever variation you're going with, whether it's on your knees or whether it's from your downward facing dog. It is quite a challenging thing to do, so don't worry if it is feeling quite hard. And we have just done 45 minutes of upper body work anyway, so it will feel a little bit harder. So whichever variation you are going with, get ready. We're going to do this together. Take an inhale. As you exhale, bring all of your weight forwards into your press and then send it back on the exhale, downward dog or tabletop. 4 more, inhale, bring your weight forwards, tap your nose or your chin down, exhale, send it back. 3 more, inhale, bringing your weight forwards, tapping the floor if you can, exhale, send it back. Last 2, inhale, coming all the way forwards, use that strength. Exhale, press it back into your down dog or your tabletop position. Last one, inhale, coming through, tapping your tapping your nose or your chin down. Exhale, sending it all the way back into your down dog or your tabletop position. Drop your knees down. We'll find a traditional child's pose, so bringing the knees together if you can. Bring your arms back behind you and just let your head relax onto the floor. So just finding this closed, rounded child's pose. If this is uncomfortable, taking your arms out in front. So we're done. All the hard work's done. We're going to take 10 breaths in our child's pose. So really allowing this pose to ground you down, starting to slow your breath down even more, starting to slow the body down, starting to relax the body. So relax the shoulders. In our traditional child's pose, we can allow the shoulders to round forwards here, so letting go of any tension in the shoulders, just allowing them to be completely heavy. The face is relaxed, maybe closing or softening the gaze. And take another 5 breaths exactly as you are. So just allowing the body to feel grounded, letting those shoulders fall forwards. Take 1 more full round of breath, 1 more full inhale, 1 more full exhale. And then in your own time, making your way onto your backs in any way you want to. So we're all going to meet laying down on our spines. When you've got onto your back, bring your knees into your chest. Just give yourself a hug. Just gently massaging the spine into the floor. So just rocking, maybe in circles, rocking from one side, rocking to the other side. We're going to move straight into our Shavasana. If there's any other stretches, any other movements that you want to take, if you want to do Happy Baby or any supine twists, you're more than welcome to. If not, making your way into your Shavasana. We're going to be here for about 3 minutes, so if you want to take a longer Shavasana, you're more than welcome to just pause the video. For your Shavasana, you can either have your legs out long, or you can have the knees bent, or you can come into a seated position and take a seated meditation instead. So whichever variation you are going with, just find a comfortable position, just find somewhere that feels good for you. If you want to go back to bed, I don't blame you. When you have found your Shavasana, your position, take a full inhale in through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out, breathe out. Do that one more time. Inhaling all the new oxygen in. Exhale, sigh it back out. And just allow the eyes to close or the eyes to soften. Allowing the breath to slowly come back to its natural rhythm, just letting go of any breath control. Allowing the shoulders to feel heavy. Allowing the face to relax, relaxing the forehead, relaxing the jaw. The body is completely heavy. Just using these next couple of minutes to find complete stillness. Whenever you're ready, just start to bring your attention back into your body, in the room. Taking a couple of deep breaths, waking up the body, making a couple of micro movements, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. Maybe rocking the head from side to side. If you'd like to take a pencil stretch, knees come out long, feet out long, hands come up overhead, make yourself as long as you can. And then make yourself into a little ball, hugging the knees into the chest. Rocking gently from side to side, either finishing on the left side or the right side. In your fetal position, taking your time to come up to a comfortable seat, either sitting with the legs crossed or sitting on the knees. Trying to keep your eyes soft or the gaze closed, the gaze lowered. Finding a nice long spine, shoulders away from the ears. Bringing your hands together in Anjali Mudra at the heart center. Press the palms together. Bow your chin down to your chest. Thanking yourself for taking the hour out of your Tuesday morning, for getting up and showing up on your mat to come and practice virtually with each other and myself. Namaste. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining. Hope you have a wonderful rest of Tuesday. Let me know if you've got any questions, and I will see you virtually next week. Thanks for joining.